Hey YouTube, I just wanted to do a quick video with you today and share my granola recipe with you. Now you've seen my yogurt making recipe, and as a topping for the yogurt I like to make granola. I eat this stuff, I make a lot of this, it's great. It's just a nice oats and nuts, and I'm toasted with some honey and some coconut oil, and it's really delicious. I make it in big batches. You can sprinkle it with some toasted coconut, sprinkle in some craisins or some other dried fruit, stir in a little bit of jelly, some granola, and then your yogurt. It's breakfast every morning. So what I'm going to do is put together a batch, makes about 7 pounds, I think. You can scale the recipe. Check the show notes in the description below, and I'll have the full recipe down there. But it's super easy to make. The ingredients are 2 pounds of oats, a pound of raw cashews. Don't get toasted cashews, don't get salted cashews. These I picked up at a natural food store, at a health food store. Raw almonds, raw sunflower seeds. All these are raw because what we're going to do is we're going to mix all this stuff together and then we're going to toast it in the oven. So make sure all the ingredients that you buy are raw. So then besides the nuts, what you're going to have is we're going to make kind of just like I don't know, a dressing, I guess is the best term for it, which is a cup of water, a cup of honey, and a cup of coconut oil. We'll mix that all together with some cinnamon and some vanilla, a little bit of salt, mix the whole thing together, and then we'll toast it real low and slow, about 250 degrees in the oven for about an hour or two, and then we'll just leave it to dry in the oven overnight, and that'll give you a nice toasted oatmeal product, a nice toasted granola. Here, take a look. Let me show you how easy this is to make. First, we need to weigh out the 2 pounds of oatmeal. Either put the ball on the scale and turn it on, or hit tare and just zero out your scale. These sunflower seeds come in 1 pound bags, which is one of the reasons why I make as much as I do, just because it's easy, because a lot of times you can buy these kind of seeds in 1 pound bags. A lot of times I'll get the cashews in 1 pound bags. They didn't have any of the cashews measured out in the retail bags, so I just got the bulk. Run a knife through these, just chop them up a little bit. You can usually pick up the raw pieces a little bit cheaper than the whole cashews, because you're going to be chopping them up anyway. So I mean, you can use your own judgment for how much you want to chop these. I try to make sure that there's just a couple of whole nuts. It's kind of fun to get a whole nut in your oatmeal. Think granola while you're cutting these up. I mean, I'll leave a couple of whole nuts. It's kind of fun to get a whole nut in your cereal, but by and large, make sure most of them are cut in half. Let's do a pound of almonds. This looks like about 2 pounds in here. These are, again, raw almonds. Just cut them basically mostly in half. Leave a couple of whole ones. Can they be whole? Of course they can be whole. But you're making breakfast cereal here, folks. So I mean, on the other hand, what you have to weigh against is this powder that gets created. This just kind of sinks to the bottom of your bowl, and isn't really great. So the more you chop, the more of that powder you get. I'm calling it. I'll leave that out. All right, next I want to mix up the sauce. I'm going to want a cup of coconut oil. The coconut oil makes the cereal take on a nice toasted color, nice brown color when you run it in the oven. So a lot of people tell me this is a lot of oil. This is cold pressed oil. This is actually good for you oil. So I like to include it in my daily diet. I'm going to do a cup of that. I want to do a cup of honey. Yeah, that's a lot of sugar, but again, we're making, what, 7 or 8 pounds of cereal. Well, we're making 5 pounds of cereal, plus the water weight of some of these ingredients. Guess we can weigh it when we're done and figure it out. Next is the water. I've got 4 ounces of water, boiling water. To that I want to add a tablespoon of salt. That's mostly just for flavor. Quarter cup of cinnamon. Quarter cup of vanilla. Give that a little spin until the salt dissolves and the cinnamon stirred in. It's key to get the salt dissolved. You don't want to bite into a crystal of salt while you're enjoying your breakfast. But having boiled the water, it makes pretty short work of those big crystals. All right, I think we're good. Boiling water will help to melt the coconut oil as well. Yeah, good, no salt. My coconut oil was a little cold. I think I'm going to stick this in the microwave and see if I can get this oil melted. I don't want to boil this again. Remember, I've got that vanilla extract in there. I don't want to cook out the vanilla extract too much. So we'll just try to emulsify this a little bit. And then right into the cereal mixture. Got a spatula so I can keep lifting the liquid off the bottom of the bowl and then kind of folding in my cereal. Keep doing this folding mixture until you don't see any more dry bits. I'm still bringing up a little bit of dry oatmeal from the bottom of the bowl. Eventually it'll all get coated. Once you've got the cereal mixed up, just spread it out on some sheet pans or maybe in an oven pan or any kind of a wide surface that you can use to toast and sort of dry the cereal out a little bit. From here you just want to spread it out. Try to get it even across all your trays. This last tray looks a little thin. Let's share. The more trays that you use and the thinner you spread this out, the more of it's going to toast at once. if you end up just using, I mean, my mom used to make this in her oven roasting pan, and she'd pile it in there about that deep and put it in the oven, 250, 300 degrees, and then just take it out and stir it. Every 10 or 15 minutes, give it a good stir. Bring up get all the corners, get the top down to the bottom, and keep moving it around in the pan and toasting the top and drying it out, because you really want, this is a cereal product, you want it to get dried out. If it has the least bit of moisture left in it, it's going to get moldy in the bag, and that'll be not good. So I like to spread it out in as many pans as you have. I've actually got 3 shelves in my oven, so I can put all 3 of these in my oven and toast this. I'll probably check this every 15 or 20 minutes and give it a little stir and make sure nothing's getting too brown too fast. And then we'll come back to the video. All right, let's toast the granola at 250, 300 degrees. I'm going to do 250 just to go low and slow for a while here. If you have an oven that gets some ovens get really hot when they're preheating, and then they'll come down to the set temperature. This oven doesn't do that. It just kind of comes up slowly. So I'm not going to get real excited about putting my food in there while it's preheating, because it's not getting that hot anyway. But just be careful. I don't want to hear somebody burn their granola because they put it in while they were preheating. That's going to be fine. I'm going to let that go for about half an hour, and then I'll give it a stir. So after this has been in the oven for, what, about 2.5 hours? And take it out, give it a little stir, and just see where you are with it. You can feel a little bit of weight underneath here. Still feel a little dampness, but I've got a nice brown. This was on the top initially. You can see it's a little browner just from being close to the elements. But I think I'm calling it done. I think this is good enough. I don't like to get it too brown. So at this point, I'm just going to leave the door ajar, turn the oven off, and I'll just leave that like that overnight and let that dry out. And by morning, that'll be delicious. I'll pack it up in gallon Ziploc bags and throw it in the freezer for safekeeping. If you want to add the toasted coconut, you have to toast the coconut separately. So take the bag of coconut and spread it out on a cookie sheet or a baking pan. That goes in the oven at 350. Let that cook for 5 or 10 minutes. Keep your eye on it, because that coconut can get real dark real quick. So I'm just going to hit the light and make sure that I keep my eye on that, because I don't want to burn it. And once that's toasted, I can add that to the rest of the cereal, and that'll be delicious. All right, who's watching the clock? It's been in there for a couple of minutes. It's already got a nice brown on it. Just give this a little stir up. I think that's done. That's about as toasted as I want to get. That's perfect. So I'll just put this back in here to dry overnight. I've got the oven off. That's off. I'll just let that stuff dry. So that's homemade granola. It's super simple to make and delicious, and eat it every day for breakfast. So subscribe and leave me some comments and let me know what you think of the recipe. And if there's anything else you'd like me to make, let me know about that too, and I'll put together a recipe for you. Thanks for watching.